Meow, you bumbling boob! Hello, welcome peoples to this is the very first episode of the Geek Goth. I'm Calvin, pleased to meet you. This channel will be dedicated to all things that I like, things which inspire me, things which give me deep joy, things like whether it's books. On a rare occasion I get to actually read novels. There'll be graphic novel reviews, comic books, movies, TV shows, and action figures. Lots of action figures. They'll be quite toyetic in that regard. May have guessed the first one I'll be looking at, which really hits the nostalgia feels, will be this guy. He-Man, the most powerful man in the universe, according to his own press. But yes, this little fiend, bit of backstory. This was not this particular one, but the He-Man and Skeletor action figures, when they came out in 1982, I think it was about 83, up in the valleys where I lived. They were the first toys I bought with my very own birthday money, ever. I grew up small little community in the Welsh Valleys. We only had one toy shop, the Wishing Well, in a local town, which was phenomenal. They stocked everything from arts and crafts, stationeries, novels, all sorts, all the way through to role-playing games and Dungeons and Dragons, the early stuff. Before it became Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, they had that when it came in as well. Miniatures, back when they were still lead miniatures, what have you. Everything, anything you could want as a child, especially as a geek child, they had. And I remember I had birthday money. I remember going down there to see if there was something I could pick up, see if something, what to spend my birthday money on, and they were unpacking these boxes, and just like this, and it was just He-Man and Skeletor. That was it. Loads of them, and straight away, as a fan of sword and sorcery with Dungeons and Dragons, what have you, and a fan of superheroes as well. This was like gold. It's like struck gold straight away. I was just obsessed. Had to get, and I didn't quite have enough money to be able to get them, so I just hightailed it home and to let my parents know, and the rest was just history. It was phenomenal. Told all my friends. It's like just all the kids just kind of like descending on Wishing Well for these kind of science fantasy barbarian figures, which was amazing. So flash forward to now, 40 years on. I know, and and Mattel, sorry, I've been producing Master Universe figures off and on over the years, different iterations, what have you. But in 2021, I believe, they brought out this line, which is called Masters of the Universe Origins, which are specifically based on that original vintage line. What they've done is that they've given them more articulation, as we'll see. They've made improvements on the line, but they've still kept that same aesthetic. They've still kept the same scale, and this the mini comics are included, as you may see in the back. The card back in the artwork, and what they've dedicated to do as well is to actually complete the line, because the line was never completed because of like drop off on sales and what have you. And so there was quite a few figures and concepts which never actually made it into production, but they are being made now. And of course, they're hugely popular, especially people like me who grew up with He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, especially the action figures. You'll notice, for those who are not quite, who perhaps don't know as much about it, they won't look exactly like the Filmation cartoon, and there's a reason for that. You know, mainly stylistic choices in order for the animation for it to be made much easier and what have you. But there are plans, and I've seen the first 4 figures. There are plans next year in 2024 that they're going to release a line, almost like a subline of Master Universe Origins, which is the cartoon line, where they're going to be producing figures in the same scale, a 5.5-inch scale, as the Origins, which look exactly like the Filmation cartoon. So if your He-Man experience, if your He-Man kind of nostalgia is more for the cartoon than perhaps the action figures, then there's something for you coming. You know, they're wonderful. So I'm going to get him out of this plastic prison because thankfully he doesn't need to breathe. We'd be long dead by now. But let's just look at this packaging first. So of course we got him in it, just like it's weird. It's weird because even though it's new, this is exactly like pretty much what it was when I was a kid. You know, just picking up, handling it, looking at it. It's a deep joy. It's quite something else. So on the back there, exactly like it was previously, you've got the other figures in the line which are available. In this case, obviously you've got He-Man, you've got Faker, who's the robot duplicate of He-Man that Skeletor creates. Obviously that's his revealed form, because he ain't going to fool anyone with blue skin and orange Skeletor armour. But maybe Orko. he can fool Orko. But is Skeletor himself the main man? I'll be unboxing him probably in the next kind of figure unboxing video. Don't know if that'll be the next one because I got some other things planned, but he'll be coming up. We got Merman, who was another one of my favourites. He's absolutely fantastic. Evelyn, and this, I'll explain about the colouring because that is not the original colouring of Evelyn. That's more based on, I think, the 2001, 2002 series. I'll explain that when I get to that. And of course, Fisto, everyone's favourite Fisto, absolutely phenomenal. Probably seen the memes, probably seen the episodes, you know, in Master of the Universe Revelations, you know, he comes up with the kind of self-aware line that I'll surely like to fist him. Phenomenal. We'll get to him. Don't worry. For all you Fist fans, we'll get a Fisto. So they got this thing on the side which shows you how put the weapons in his hands and the action kind of features, the posing, and of course you've got the heroic He-Man post-transformation art, and the artwork they've replicated a lot of the original art on these action figures, which is just phenomenal. I'm absolutely loving it. So let's get him out. Let's get him out. Here we go. Ooshed. Now then, they've also, there's like, I don't know if you can see, I'm not sure, there's a little slot at the bottom there, which wasn't on the originals. This actually makes it easier to get them out here. A lot easier, because you can get your thumb in or whatever, and just, there's people who are like inbox kind of collectors. They're probably like thinking this is sacrilege. I don't care. I took my He-Man out. There you go. When I was a kid, I took him out to play. I'm taking these out to pose and stuff. Maybe do some photography. Who knows? You know what I mean? It's what we do. Got the little weapons pack there. We'll have a look at those in a minute. But they're looking just like the originals. There's some ties here, which I need to free him from. Snip, snip. Snippity, snip. Get it out. Come on. the excitement is just, this is nuts. It's just like, oh, it just takes me back. It's amazing. So I'm fighting and struggling to get out the original packaging. Just make sure all the pieces, all the little bits, make sure he's free of these little plastic ties. Come on, get out of the way. That's right. Okay. And so pop that there. And there he is. He-Man, the most powerful man in the universe. Now, this is amazing. Now, in the original figures, his arms and legs were pretty much, they're quite squat. They were kind of like a squat posed kind of thing. You can still get the vintage figures. To get them on card, as they say, like in the package like that, on card, is a lot of money. Money I ain't gonna spend. I'm not interested, because that kind, I'm more tactile. You know, I like to get them out and stuff. If I buy that kind of thing, I'll just keep them in the card, and doesn't, yeah. This He-Man, again, he's so it was mostly the pose and positioning was just like that, you know. And on the original figures, the articulation was just moving his arms up and down like that, his legs back and forth, his head side to side, and that was it. That was all the articulation you could get out of him. The only other piece of articulation was the waist, when they had what they called a power punch action feature, where position his arm, twist him, and when you let him go, he'd flick back into place, and if it was an action figure or whatever in front of him, it'd punch him over, hence power punch. And what they've done to increase the articulation and the ability to get him into more poses, more action poses, they don't have that action feature anymore. I don't care. You know, I'd much rather increased articulation and ability to pose than an action feature I'm not particularly going to use much. So with these, it's brilliant, because you can see you can bend the elbows, twist the wrists around, and you can bend at the wrists and the legs back and forth out. You can do He-Man splits if you want to, you know. The knee, bend back. You can twist at the boot area. It's really cool. And the feet as well move. And his head moves. Now, a fabulous feature of these new figures is, I think, yeah, they got like a little, so they show you there just what bits come off, but what bits can be, what can be changed as well. What do you mean changed? What I mean is you can pop them apart, and they are compatible with every other figure in the Master Universe Origins line, which means you can mix and match, pop its head off, and so if I wanted to, I could pop off Skeletor's head and pop him on here and make a brand new figure, whatever. I could take his arms and legs off, I can put different ones on, wherever I want. It's infinitely, pretty much customizable. Not literally infinitely, just a lot. You know, but yeah, so that's absolutely fantastic. You can even take the hands out. You can swap the hands around, have you if you wanted to. But this guy, look at him. The face is just the same. The hair might be slightly different shade, but you know, there you go. You gonna stand there, buddy? Yeah. Hell yeah. This is great. I love it. It's so much fun. So let's get these weapons out here. Now, originally, He-Man, we all know about the power sword. He-Man and the power sword. You know, when he holds it aloft and says, by the power of Grayskull, I have the power, and you transform some Adam into He-Man. Now, originally, that wasn't the case. Originally, in the original mini comics, which came with He-Man, he was an unnamed member of a tribe, a warrior tribe, and he goes off on his wanderings around Eternia, and he was just barefoot, loinclothed barbarian, and he comes across a character known as the Eternian Goddess, or also the Green Goddess. We have a figure of her as well, which we'll get to, and he saves her from this huge beast, and she recognizes him as the chosen one who will protect Eternia from evil. So she takes him back to a cave and bestows upon him his weapons and armor. His armor being his harness that he's wearing there. Now in that original mini comics and in the early kind of continuity, He-Man wasn't in and of himself invulnerable, okay, and he wasn't in and of himself all powerful, like all strength. What gave him his invulnerability was his harness. He had, I think it was 2 harnesses. One harness was produced a force field, which helped obviously to protect him against all kinds of attacks, what have you. And another one which gave him super strength. Okay, and depending on which one he wore, depending on what kind of ability he would have. And for the most part, He-Man would run around with his battle axe. Yeah, there you go. This shield, you just it's amazing. They just slide on his shield and just clip that on, I believe. There you go. Clips in, and there you are. For the power sword, on the back is a little holder, which they didn't have in the original. You just have to slide it, just squeeze it down between. But with this, slots in nice. So there you have. This is just crazy. Again, like nostalgia, waves of nostalgia. This is brilliant. Okay, so you have him, and so yeah, he would wander around and mainly smashing things up with his axe. You know, beating the crap out of monsters and villains with his fists and with his axe mainly. Now, the power sword was a plot device, mainly to do with gaining access to Castle Grayskull and getting hold of the power of the universe. It wasn't something which He-Man carried all the time. It wasn't his main weapon. I think that shifted with the Filmation cartoon when that became the main focal point. And he just generally used that all the time. And you rarely saw him, if ever, I think, use a shield and an axe. Yeah. So that's brilliant. That is great. Now, something I want to address. Look at that. you can just do whatever you want. This is so cool. You know, take your head off. You can't quite do the Sparta kick. That's a shame. So one thing I do want to address is this wasn't the first He-Man figure which was brought out in the Origins line. Okay? I'll just pop him there for now. The first He-Man that was brought out in the Origins line was this guy. Okay, look at that face. Okay, so when it came out, this is more in line, although not 100% exact same articulation between the two, but this face is more in line with the Filmation cartoon. Okay, as again, it's not 100% exactly like the Filmation cartoon, but it's close. You know, it's very evocative of that. And they brought this out, and fans, while they were thankful for it, they pointed out to Mattel, the people who produce it, that if this is going to be a line, if Masters of the Universe Origins was going to be a toy line which was modernising and updating the classic vintage line, then surely He-Man, the central figure, should look like the original He-Man. And Mattel agreed. and then that's when they eventually brought out, I think it was maybe 2 years later, I think, they brought out this He-Man with the face sculpt, the head, which looks exactly like the original. Okay, so you've got that kind of scowly, mean barbarian, maybe looking a little bit older, maybe more battle weary He-Man, and the more younger kind of Instagram He-Man, Insta He-Man, opposed to, pardon me, opposed to this He-Man who's pretty much, I don't know, live journal He-Man. Anybody remember that? People of a certain age will remember that, and that's exactly what I'm getting at. Okay, but as you can see, so you get that there. The other one, get there. So, and there, talking about poses, you know, replicating pretty much that classic, you know, by the power of Grayskull, I have the power pose, being able to look up at there. That's something which we could never ever do with the original line. Now, this being the first He-Man action figure, what they did is replicate the power sword. Now, in the original line, the power sword, as you can see, the back of it, one half of it, was flattened with little pegs in it. Now, what that was, with Skeletor, his sword was the mirror of this. So the peg placement was mirrored, and it's in purple, and actually showed you could actually clip the two together to make the complete power sword. And then, as part of a toy feature with the Castle Grayskull playset, you could then use that as the key to unlock the drawbridge, so to gain access to Castle Grayskull. It's amazing. So when they brought out, this He-Man, the power sword is complete. So you get a complete power sword as well. Notice it doesn't have the guard on it. I think that was originally, they had the guard on there to make sure you could fasten it on. Normally you twist it so it was around the back of the wrist, so it would hold it, so the figure could properly hold it. With these ones, the tooling on the hands, the grip is much tighter, so that's not a problem. I'm dropping stuff. But there you go, absolutely phenomenal. I love it. I just love these figures. They're just brilliant. It's just taking me right back to my childhood. It's great. It's absolutely great. You know, brilliant. And what we also get, I said about the mini comics which come with them. I'll just finish up with the mini comics. This is the mini comic that come with the original release He-Man. They on the back, I say which was on the back of the card art for the first one, are the other figures in the line, in the waves as they call them. You know, so they bring them out in there's a group of them per release. Okay, so you get Teela in her snake armor, wonderful. Man-at-Arms. Now the original Man-at-Arms, I didn't have a moustache. He was clean shaven. It was only in the cartoon did he have a moustache. And so when I get to the Man-at-Arms figure and the Eternian Palace guards, I'll talk about that there. There's Beastman, Evelyn, who is in her original colours, where she was more blue in her armour and her skin was yellow. That was her original colouring. Again, the more kind of goth Evelyn, where she's like white pretty much and black colour scheme, silver, was more towards the 2001-2002 cartoon era. But we'll get to that when we talk about Evelyn. And of course, Skeletor. Skeletor, one of the greatest villains ever. The memes as well from the cartoon are just innumerable. Absolutely fabulous. The strange thing about these mini comics now, they're new stories, brilliant. With the original action figures, each one had a different comic. As it is now, each wave has the same comic. So Mark Arms, Teela, Skeletor, Evelyn, Beastman, He-Man, they would all have the same comic. There wouldn't be any difference. What I've found out online is with America, with the figures that are produced or released in America, the mini comics complete. It's fine, no problem. With the ones which are distributed outside America, oh look, there's no lettering, no speech bubbles. There's some sound effects which are drawn in, but speech bubbles, none. The only thing I can think of as to why that is could be to do with translation. It may be that because they go into foreign markets, they would have to translate. Possibly, I don't know, if they get lazy and they decided that'll cost too much for each individual once they're shipped out to distribution, go into international markets. They got no control of exactly where it's going and what stock's going where, so they just took the English speech bubbles out. That's fine. That's fine. 10-year-old me, if I had something like that with no speech bubbles, I'd just make it up. I'd make up the story, you know, and I'm sure plenty of people have had lots of fun making up stories. But yeah, it's great. That's the only thing. That's not a problem whatsoever. You know, it's good stuff, and I absolutely love it. I absolutely love it. This is the kind of thing which this channel's going to be about. You know, it's going to be me and the things that I love. You know, things which inspire deep joy in me. You know, and so if you want to come along for the ride, you do that. You know, there'll be some book reviews, perhaps there'll be graphic novels. You know, some of my favorite graphic novels and comics. I may be doing some comic reviews and stuff. I may be talking about films which I particularly enjoyed, you know, TV series and things, you know, that kind of thing. You know, so if that's your thing, if that's the kind of thing you enjoy, then come along for the ride. If you don't, that's fine. I'm doing this for me, you know. I'm not in it for pushing like the viewership and what have you. I'm not an influencer. It's so not me. The only thing if I can influence is if perhaps you see something which, you know, which gets you to want to go and check it out yourself, whatever. That's fabulous. That is brilliant. If I can spread the love, I am all about spreading the love. Okay, that's what the Geek Goth's all about. He wants to spread the love. Okay, so if you like this, then maybe give me a like, you know, the old thumbs up. Leave a comment down below. That'd be great. You know what I mean? I can imagine in no time it'd probably go the way of YouTube and become a cesspit in the comments. It's the way of things. But yeah, if you got any comments or what have you, that'd be great. If you want to see any more of these, then maybe ring the bell. There's a little bell icon. Ring that will notify you of when I upload another one. Okay, and there's a subscribe button, just to subscribe to the channel, so you don't miss out if that's what you want to do. Okay, so thank you for watching and indulging alongside me in these fabulous figures. A little trip down memory lane. There's going to be a lot more. There's going to be a lot more. Okay, it's brilliant. I love it. So until next time, get there. So yes, until next time, be safe, take care of yourselves, and have fun. Yeah.